Let's get started.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
You're now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kumar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kumar
Welcome to the party.
and Simon.
Welcome to the party.
What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience this week. We're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernons. We're then going to talk about each guest, the talking points, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. But first, Kumar is going to go over some new patrons.
Thank you, Brother Matt. Welcome back, old listeners and new listeners alike. This is my favorite time of the week where I read off the Patreons. Like and subscribe. This week, got a big shout out to Justin Steen.
What up, Justin?
What up, Justin? Part of the tribe, maybe.
Steen? Is that a Jew name?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Like Rubenstein.
No. It's Steen.
Oh,
So I don't think that's
not,
it.
definitely
he's-
not.
Yeah, I don't think it was a
Get
Stein.
out of
Sounds
the
like a private
tribe.
detective or something. Right?
Anyway, thank you, Justin. Jew or not, we love you.
And thank you to all the old Patrons and new Patrons alike. It's the best. It's my favorite week. And I would say it's time to join the Patreon because we may have had the most impromptu epic movie game of all time for the throwback.
Oh, the throwback that's coming out next week is one of our worst.
What?
Or one of our
I
best.
think it's
What a
just-
trailer
I think it's-
fire,
I think it's nothing
Yeah.
but fire.
Yeah, dumpster fire. Come work. Simon's right.
Oh, because of we went off his notes?
No, there was, listen.
What a fucking dipshit.
Yeah.
Listen,
that's
in
me.
general, it's my bad. I should have gone back and maybe listened to a throwback or two just to get a feel for what we used to do. I felt like we just came in raw and just sat down.
It
And,
was total raw dog, man.
yeah. So the first one back is not that great, but expect a throwback this week. I think you missed a patron too. I know someone adjusted for, first of all, someone upped their donos, but it's fine. Kumar, we'll get to them.
That's not impossible.
It's a tight ship we run here. All right. Well, Kumar, how was your week?
Oh, it's a good week. I did another set, had fun, making people laugh is always fun. And I went up to the country and I got to ride in a Tesla.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in one?
Nope.
It is what they say it is, I was sure that it was just a mechanism in the seat that just grabs your shoulders so you feel, but I've never felt anything like it in my life.
Never been in a roller coaster?
Maybe in a roller coaster, but even roller coasters start relatively slow and sort of build up.
Oh,
This
you
is
haven't done like a...
from going like 5 to 120 and like
No, but you haven't done one of those propelled roller coasters?
mate, was Top Gun where you hang?
No, that's... No. I don't think I'm not sure if Wonderland has any. I know in the States, though, Kumar, there's a bunch where like it's like 0 to 100 type shit. There's no tick, 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 tick. Yeah, you just fucking...
Well, I don't think I've ever been that, and I've been in faster cars,
Yeah.
but did nothing like this.
No, you've
Just
never
the-
been in a faster car.
And well, no, I guess not. And
He's gone in a car that's gone faster. He's been in a car that's gone faster.
I also doubt that.
Well, what did you max out at in the Tesla?
no, it's the acceleration. Like we got up to 140 and like in a second or whatever it is. But the person who owns the Tesla was very old.
Well, this is what I'm saying, Matt. So there's no way they were like
Yeah, fair enough.
topping out at 200.
I've gone faster in a car.
There's your answer. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's-
Fair enough. You were right, Simon. My
Thank you,
apologies.
Kumar.
but not feeling this. Oh, and then once you're up there, feeling like you're not going fast at all.
So when you go down like a hill in
Yeah.
your car and you get that whoop in your
G-forces.
stomach?
Yeah.
Is that what you're feeling all the time in the Tesla?
No, you're feeling G-force. Well, yeah, it's G-forces.
Once you get up to speed, you don't feel anything. You don't feel anything.
No, but in that
pull.
acceleration, do you feel that little whoop in your stomach?
No, you feel pinned in the back of the seat and just like you're preparing for it. Like it's not going to get me, but it gets you.
It's a different-
'Cause it really is what they say it is, and it was very interesting. And I made a older gentleman very happy that he could show off for me.
Simon, it's different G forces, lateral and
You mean the stomach
We
feeling?
were talking, my wife and I were talking about this the other day, probably because I'm watching that Uber show, which is very good. It's actually teaching me all about, you know what? I'll save it for my, go ahead. Come here.
Yeah, so I got to drive a Tesla. I got to howl at the moon. It's still wet and muddy up there, but good times to be had.
it's wet and muddy everywhere, bruh.
Wet and muddy everywhere, and the masks come off on Monday. So by the time you listen to this, I'm running around no mask on.
I want to ask you, what do you think the percentage of, and let's not go right away because that's a bad, by like June, by mid-June, what do you think the percentage of people wearing masks in public is?
Public or indoors?
Indoors.
Like
indoors public. That's what I'm talking about.
I say 50% indoors. I think outside be less. Like I said last week, though, everyone in Toronto was wearing masks outside.
I think people are still going to wear masks.
People are still going to wear masks for sure.
I was thinking about you saying that about Toronto, though. I think when a place is hit as hard as somewhere like that, it's you can't judge.
No,
you know what I mean? Like,
it's just an observation. I'm not saying why.
I think people also know that,
we're not out of the weeds.
well, yeah, and right or wrong, with the mask mandate being removed, it's not being done because they have like come to their senses, or it's all political. You know what I mean?
Public
It's
outcry. Yeah.
Well, the
people
provincial
getting ready
elections
for
coming up.
elections, like, and I think people are aware of that. So then they're going to make their own decision.
I'll be interested to say in July, and that's what Blues Fest is, what that looks like, because it's outside, but there's going to be a lot of people.
What I want to know is this, because I have a feeling this is what's going to happen. And I'll just use servers as like the example in this scenario. But like, I wonder if, like, let's say it's July, okay, it's mid-July, and forget about how you feel. You know, someone goes into a restaurant and their server has decided that they would feel more comfortable wearing a mask. I wonder how many people are going to be like, I don't want my server. You know what I mean? Like, get me another server. I don't want the server.
I
who's-
think it'll be establishments, not
Yeah, I think
not
most
right down
places
this
are just
individual
going
thing.
to have their, like, if you're in a restaurant, let's say, everybody will just keep wearing a mask until
But
who
you
knows
can't.
when.
You know that. You can't do that.
You can optionally.
You
don't
can.
have to.
I think you can if you're.
You can't enforce it.
Well, you can
Well,
force
wait a
your
second, can't
patrons
you?
to. Yes, you can.
Just
You
like
can
no
make it.
shirt, no shoes,
yeah.
no service. Like
No, no, no,
this
no.
No, we know that you
no, we're
can't do
talking
that.
about. We're not talking about the public. The public, you can't enforce it. That the mandate has
Even
been
your
taken
employees, I don't
away.
think you can
But
enforce
if a
it.
business doesn't want people without masks, I think they do it at a risk of alienating other people.
Well, I'm not sure. The same way you can't deny somebody
saying-
service if they are gay or if they're black or if they're like I don't know.
Kamar,
I
it's
don't
against
know.
the charter of
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
against
yeah,
the charter
yeah,
of human
yeah,
rights, I
understand what
believe.
you're saying, I understand.
That was the big like issue when this thing first came down the pike, was everyone was like, you can't do this.
But I mean, if you were a kitchen, let's say, and I don't know this for sure, but you could just decide that your cooks wear masks. Like, forget the pandemic. You know what I mean? If you decided that you thought it was more sanitary, and then if you work here, you wear a mask, and if you don't want to work here, you don't wear a mask. I don't know.
I don't know
You
if
can't
that's
tell someone to not wear a mask.
but I also don't think that's
You definitely can't do that. Yeah.
See, Simon, this is the thing is like, so I'm thinking about hair nets. Like, I'm pretty sure there's nothing legally that says you can't make your employees wear a hair net.
Exactly.
But I think a mask is different.
Okay. Like I said, I have no idea.
I don't either. Hey, we're just
No,
talking
you
here.
just ask
Sorry.
you, I think 50% by June. Here,
I think it all depends on whether you see another
wave.
outbreak, wave, like all of that is going to play into effect if the numbers
China
keep
is
going.
obviously very worried about this.
If the numbers keep going down, you'll see people more likely to not.
All right, I'm
wear
sorry
the
for
mask.
asking the
No,
question.
no, I
Jeez.
just that's all.
How was your
We
week,
gotta have
Simon?
the hard questions.
My week was okay. What I was saying about the Teslas was that. So yeah, I'm watching that show, Uber, learning a lot about like venture capitalists and stuff. Isn't that sad, eh? How everything I learn from like HBO shows as opposed
You're not going to learn in
to
school.
I love that you think it's sad that you're learning.
well, just the way it happens is.
Yeah, but that's also your. We have this old school mentality.
Again, I guess the point is I don't know if what they're telling me is even true. I'm just seeing it on television and assuming
dramatized.
because it's
Okay.
dramatized, and that's probably not a good way to go about it. That person who made that show could have a whole fucking
I thought it was a
ulterior
documentary.
motive. No,
That's
no,
where I was
no,
at
no.
first.
But when
Once
you watch something like that, you don't stop ever and Google shit.
I do, yeah.
And then it checks
It
out.
prompts
or doesn't
me
check
to,
out. Yeah. You do some fact
That
checking.
Uber show must be somewhat credible because they're using real people in real people roles. They're actors playing
Real people.
Ariana Huffington. So they have used her name. I imagine if they were telling a story that wasn't true, she would just sue the fuck out of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you should keep in mind too, like you're saying, when Hollywood does those things, they try to keep the hardcore facts as close to the truth as they can, and then they just embellish the, like if you and I we start Apple, like they're going to keep all the facts of how we started Apple. They just might make the fights that we had embellished and Hollywoodized, the drama fucking.
What the latest thing in this show is they have to submit their app to the App Store. And the App Store has like stringent rules about data mining and things like that, apparently.
Yeah, when was this?
This is when they were creating Uber. And so they're like, oh, fine, we'll just do it legit. And then he's like, how can we get away with not doing it legit? And they're like, oh, well, you'll just build a wall, like a virtual electronic wall around Apple. So when they're actually there looking at your app, it looks good. But the second that they're,
Scam.
yeah, a scam. Exactly. Anyways, long story to get to. How come cab companies don't use Teslas or electric cars? Because like that's where they get hit the most, right? Is when gas comes into play. You have a time like this
There's
where
hybrids.
I think you're forgetting though that there's not
none of them are though.
I've seen some hybrids.
I mean,
Not-
most
not.
cabs are
Most still
older.
gas.
But you're forgetting that, like, I think a lot of people do this. When you buy a Tesla, you are no longer paying for gas. You are saving that money. Your car doesn't get powered from nothing.
It gets powered from one of those electrical block things, which is way cheaper than gas if it's at $7 a barrel or a gallon,
I think the point, though, again, is like the infrastructure to set all that up, to have charging stations for, think of how many Blue Line cabs are in Ottawa. So you have to set up that infrastructure. Teslas aren't cheap. And the charging. Like right now, a guy can go out with one car, can stay on the road all day with two drivers, right? They work 12-hour shifts. A Tesla, you got to go and charge it for 4 hours.
I mean, I would think that in the long run, there's some infrastructure cost for sure. But again,
I think it will
taking
be. I think it will be.
taking the risk out of it, I guess, because you're not having to deal. You're not at the
Fords are
mercy
coming
of the
out.
market.
It won't be Teslas. It won't be Teslas. It'll be another car company.
Sure, Tesla's a bad idea. I just meant an electric
Simon,
car,
my point was to say, I think it's much easier for a company to start by doing that than it is for a legacy company to switch over, especially when you're in an industry that has been on the decline for as long as it has.
Yeah, but cabs owns their ticket things. They have deals with the city. I just don't know if like when you look at how Uber and Lyft and these companies came into
Ruined
play,
them.
I just don't know if that same thing can happen again. Like these guys break through the market and become these game changers because nobody else, what a French thing. Nobody else has done that yet. And now that you have, I'm not sure you would be able to do the same thing, but
Well, the
taking
price-
this legacy market that is obviously in a state of decline, right? They're getting killed by rideshare.
gas keeps
or
going
by,
up. That will happen.
Can you write Uber in your notes for the post, Joe? Because I'd like to have an in-depth conversation about this. But we do have to move on. So your week was okay, Simon? I'm not trying to, I just,
Yeah, my week was fine. The only thing I really wanted to talk about, because it actually had something to do with our show, is did you guys see Rogan, the clip of Rogan on Kill Tony?
With Freddie Gibbs?
Yeah,
I have
course.
not. No.
You guys haven't watched that?
He did.
I saw it, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
What,
He
how
is so
unfunny he is?
Well, he's just so drunk. Like
No, he's hammered.
his friend should have never let him do that. They were making fun. Like it was not a good
Who was drunk?
scene. Joe Rogan.
Was wasted.
After the podcast they did, Freddie Gibbs and
Brian
Brian
Moses.
Moses, they must have kept going out, drinking, whatever. They were so trashed in that episode.
Simon, I assume they went to his new club. Then they went and got some barbecue. And then they, like you said, hit the town
Anyways,
up.
then
and
they ended up
yeah.
at Kill Tony at 9:00
Yeah.
or whatever. Like Joe, he would make Remember the End of the World podcast?
Yeah.
He was like, when Joe gets drunk, he like shouts out these things, these like statements, whatever.
Like non sequiturs.
Yeah,
too.
the change is coming, whatever, you know? And Bill did it perfectly because he like turned it around and made it funny. And it actually ended up being good. He made fun of Joe's hat. Joe said, I'll never wear that. It was like a really fun moment.
Well, Bill made that night.
This time, Joe is yelling those things, but there's nobody to like
Rein him in.
rein him in. And then every time Joe yells something, he then throws his mic down on the table. So it's like this clunk. It's terrible audio. So then they get him a towel and that doesn't work. And then they get him a pillow. And then he's like passing out on the pillow. And it really seemed like nobody was looking out for Joe, you know?
No one's going to tell Joe what to do.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Don't forget, like when Bill Burr, think about it.
Bill Burr could have told him, dude.
But this is what I was going to say.
There was nobody. He's too big.
Was Tony saying
End of the
stop?
World podcast. He has at least 4 other people there that he feels are equal or above in comedy stature, not in like money or.
Yeah, I got it.
Maybe Bill. I mean, Bill Burr's rich. Like Bill Burr's quietly very rich.
It was more a comedy respect thing. I don't think it had anything to do with money.
No one was
No,
gonna
but I'm
tell
just
Joe
saying.
what to do.
But yeah, the thing
Out
is
of those-
yeah.
Well-
Brian, Tony, or Freddie. Freddie's probably laughing his ass off at him.
It was really hard for me to watch.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, not a good
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah, not a good watch. Anyways, just that's it.
No N bombs.
Freddie Gibbs is always dropping
No
in bombs,
Joe.
but Joe,
Joe.
No.
Loosen
just
up.
drunk and slips one in there. Yeah, I've just been hanging out with Freddie all day. Feels
Liberated. How's your week, man?
good. Same as every other week.
Fucking A right.
Let's go over the list of guests, please and thank you.
Nice short. Well, almost a short week till Saturday. We start off with 1791. Asad Guru.
You were right too. It's not sand. It's sad. I apologize.
Followed by 1792, our favorite converter, Daryl Davis, and our favorite social media guy, Bill Ottman. Clinging.
Do we have
And
a
then-
favorite social media guy?
Well, of all the guys that run an app, we don't know. It's him or Dorsey.
I don't like any
Or
of them.
Zuckerberg. We finish off with 1793, the man who knows everything, Mike Baker.
All right. Well, Kamar gets a point because he called Mike Baker this week. So
It's empty. It means nothing. I always would rather be wrong.
on this one, yeah, no shit. I give this week. I give this week a 2. It just shows you ebb and flows, man. Peaks and valleys. Last week, was it last week that we all rated?
Wow, last week was really good. Mr.
Yeah.
Beast and Nims.
That's it. Yeah,
this
that
one
was
I'll
last
give it a
week.
2 as well.
This week sucked.
1.5.
We have no agreement.
So close.
We have no agreement. All right, who's going to get the middle amount of time here? That's who we should do first. Should we start with Daryl Davis? And
Yeah, I guess so.
does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.